Hello there, this is Yogi for day 11 of the 30-day video challenge I've been doing. And today I want to talk about a book that I recently read by Michael Pollan. The name of the book is In Defense of Food. This book talks a lot about our current foods that we eat typically in Western civilization in general and US in particular. For me, it was a lesson in how corrupt food science is. It is infested with the political and industrial agenda, lobbying, and such things. And when I say food science is corrupt, I don't mean to imply the people in it are corrupt. It's just that the institution as a whole has become corrupt and infested with the incorrect scientific theories and facts. I respect scientific method immensely, and I think that is one of the only ways we can discover truth. But the current practice in food science doesn't seem faithful in its intent. The actual science is just cornered to the background in food science. The basic tenet of the book is, or the advice of the book is to eat food, number one, not too much of it, number two, and mostly plants, number three. Toward the end of the video, I will explain what that really means, or at least what I understood from the book with respect to these three suggestions. And the whole book is basically a commentary on these things. The one issue I understood from the book about food science is that the reason many of the results are not very faithful and truthful is that in science we cannot verify everything on our own. Even in science, we gotta trust some of the results that are already present. The reason being, we cannot verify everything on our own. We have to build on the shoulders of the giants. And when those shoulders don't have strong foundation, if some of the shoulders of the science happen to be not corrupt but not truthful, then the castles or the results we build on top of those are not going to be truthful and faithful either. And that's what seems to be happening for food science as far as I understand from the book. One of the big issues that the author points out about food science is that it's a reductive science, meaning food is a combination, is a sum total of its parts or nutrients. And that is true for all science. All science is reductive. But we don't adopt a half-baked idea of science in real life. For food science, though, it seems to be happening. We tend to come up with, or food scientists tend to come up with hypotheses, like lipid hypothesis at some point where fat is bad. And we tend to implement en masse through the whole food culture. And we later realize that that hypothesis was not correct. Sometimes we realize some nutrients were not discovered that might be responsible. So currently the problem is that we claim, or the food science claims, that we understand nutritional equivalence between different kind of food, natural and processed food, although we don't quite know all the nutrients that are there and all the quantities that are there in food. And because of this, it's important to be careful about this reductive nature of food science and not buy into the assumption or not buy into assertion that artificial foods have similar nutritional value as natural food, even though they are sold as nutritionally equivalent. Another big issue with food culture, recent food culture, is that food has become a very functional thing. a very functional experience. We don't celebrate food, we eat at our desk. Our instincts are important, but we don't respect them. The instinct like smell or taste or whether are we full or not. Many people nowadays don't eat until they are full or 90% full, better yet. But they eat until the TV episode is over or until the plate is finished. So our instincts are overridden by external factors. And it's really hard to believe that when we eat processed food, it turns out there are very few ingredients in the processed food. There's a lot of variety in the supermarket, but the actual ingredients are very few. And it's hard to believe that we are getting everything from processed corn, soybean, rice, and wheat. And one of the reasons the author points out the Western diet, although it's not ideal and it's not one of the diets that is healthy for us, it still is popular because Western diet does satiate our hunger, and hunger is a less agreeable condition than overweight. And Western diet does tend to cause overweight, but it does satisfy our hunger. And at a very evolutionary level, that is an important point. One huge problem with the current food culture is that our food chain is way too long. One suggestion, for example, the author gives is to reduce the length of this food chain. Be involved in the production of the food. Or ask your grandmother what would she recognize as food and eat that food instead of it going through various processings where it isn't recognized as food. In this realm, asking your grandmother whether it's food or not, the author also talks about that being conservative when it comes to food is a good idea. Regard non-traditional food with skepticism. Innovation is good, but we gotta be very skeptical when it comes to food innovation. Some advice that the author gives that I really connected with was, number one, don't eat alone. Eat in company, in a group. Number two, involve yourself in food production. Small herb garden or forage for mushroom in wild, cook yourself, plant a garden. Just involve yourself in food production, reducing the length of the food chain. And number three, which was a very simple idea, was sit on a table to eat. Don't keep munching around all the day and eat just random food. Whenever you want to eat, sit on table and treat eating as an experience. And sitting down to respect that time is part of it. In conclusion, I want to just say that there is a lot of good information in the book. Even if you think there are a lot of loopholes in the argument, this is a very good book to just listen or read to get a sense of how the food science has potentially pushed down some agenda that might not be totally truthful. So please read it. In summary, I would say the three tenets that the author talks about in the beginning is eat food and not food-like products that we see in supermarket. Number two, not too much of it. Have little space in your tummy when done. Be 80 or 90% full. For that you have to eat slowly so your brain can signal in about 20 or 25 minutes that you are getting full so you can stop instead of quickly gulping down a bunch of food. Then you don't realize how much you want to eat because your senses are not involved in eating. Be aware of your senses. And number three is eat mostly plants. And I think part of the reason for that is our ancestors ate mostly plants, partly because our meat was not readily available. Eating animal products 3 times a day must not be healthy. So that is all I have for today. Um, if you get a chance, read this book or listen to the book In Defense of Food by Michael Pollan.